Hey, this is David Wells, founder of Inbound Now. I'm going to show you guys how to create an inbound form or just a web form with the Inbound Now tools. This applies for our landing page plugin, our leads plugin, and also our calls to action plugin, which all work together to create a marketing system for your WordPress site. To create a new form, if you go into create forms under landing pages, or again, any of these menus here, you'll come to the same place. It's a shared function across all of the plugins, but basically you would just name your form. So new webinar form. You can choose a starting template for your form. We have a couple built-in simple email form that looks like this, a simple first name, last name, email, and then also a standard company form, which is company name and job title. That's to basically just get a jump start on building a form. Once you've created your own forms, you can also use those pre-made forms as the forms that you'd like to use. But yeah, so first you name the form. You want to create a redirect URL. This is where the user, the visitor, is going to get redirected once they fill out that form on your website. So in this example, I would redirect people to Google. This would really, you'd want this to be a thank you page on your site to send people directly to a page where it says, hey, thanks for downloading XYZ, or thanks for signing up for a webinar, or whatever the actual form is. You want to basically redirect that person to that spot. And then a notification email. This is the email that you will be sent when a lead fills out this form that's embedded on any page on your site. So I'm just going to type in email@email.com. Cool, so those are the basic settings that you definitely want to make sure that you fill out here. If you are trying to connect with MailChimp, Aweber, Constant Contact, etc., you'll want to download those add-ons from the Inbound Now marketplace. You can go to that at inboundnow.com/marketplace. And those will add additional settings below here where you can insert your MailChimp API key and choose which list you want to add people to set up those autoresponder campaigns. So those are the basic form settings there to get a quick start on the form. But let's say I want to start one from scratch. If I click on edit add fields, you can see all the fields that were pre-populated here. I'm going to go ahead and remove these. So once I remove them, you'll see the real time it's removing these. You want to make sure absolutely that you have an email field though in your form. Otherwise the lead data isn't going to be stored in the leads tool if you do have the leads plugin installed. And it's just a good, I mean, any web form that you're not collecting an email address with, it's not really a lead. You can't really do anything with that data. So you want to make sure that you do capture email data to your email. So let's just run through some of these options here. So this is a single line text. You can see over here. If I remove this pre-populated field, what I've just done here is there's a placeholder. So you can enter your email address, let's say. So what that'll do is add placeholder text for that person to actually enter in that data. I'm going to go ahead and add another field. So this field is going to be, I'm going to make this a text area. So I'm going to change it to paragraph text. Enter your message here. Cool. There also is an option to make these fields required. So if you do want one of these fields to be required, we definitely recommend making the email field required because you definitely need that for lead data. So that's the paragraph text in the second field. The other option here, I'm going to go ahead and add another field. So let's go ahead and choose drop down. So this is drop down. So this is a drop down. You can see here that there's no options. That's because we need to populate those. So basically let's do choice 1, choice 2. These are comma separated values, choice 3. And what we can see there is our drop down choices in that live preview. Again, you can make this required if you'd like. Field placeholders won't work for drop-down menus, obviously. Field descriptions, what those are. So let's go back to the text area. So field description, enter your message here, make the message awesome. So what that basically is a field description that will populate underneath the field to give a little bit more context to what that field is actually about. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and add another one. We have radio selects number. A number input is basically a number where it's people can up and down with the number there. Field. The other options that we have, date fields, time fields, and a hidden field. So this is for a hidden field if you're trying to pass in hidden variables. Let's actually set that up. So it's not going to show in the form, but it is there. If you were to inspect this element, there would be a hidden field, and that hidden field is populated by a get parameter. So we'll just put in like test as the get parameter, and we'll get to the, I'll show you that live in action at the end of this video. So that's basically setting up fields. Again, you can clone existing fields or remove them. There needs to be at least one field, and we definitely recommend that you have an email field somewhere in there. These are also, you can drag and drop to reorder them on the page. So when you do that, basically the order of the form reorders and shuffles around, and you can see the live preview there. So that is setting up fields. The next is the design and layout. So there's a number of different options here and how you want your form to actually render on the page. So right now we have, there's two different form layouts. So a vertical form, a form that goes up and down, and then a horizontal form that goes across the page. The preview isn't gonna work with the horizontal view. You'll have to open that in a new tab to actually see what that looks like. And let me show you that real quick. But paragraph text don't really look good in horizontal fields, and I'm going to remove this drop down real quick. Cool. So the design and layout. So if I go ahead and make this horizontal, it'll update the preview. I'm going to open this in a new tab, and I got to remove that bottom message as well. So that was on the interior message here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that because it is throwing off our preview, and I'm going to go ahead and open this preview again, and you can see there's a horizontal field here. You might need to do some CSS and stuff to alter that. Alternatively, you can, let me go ahead and make this a text field, single line text. So what you can do with the actual, even with horizontal fields, or let's go back to vertical, most forms are vertical anyways. You can have the labels on top or the bottom of the field, depending on your preferences. You can also have them inline, and inline forms look like that. You might have to alter the CSS or make the labels shorter. So for instance, this would be name, and then they would align correctly. These don't have placeholders. As you can see, the placeholders are empty. I can add those in if I want right here. So placeholder, or I can also select just use HTML5 placeholder text. And what that does is it uses the name, unless there's a placeholder specified, as the actual label field. So if you want a nice and clean form, you can do that. Also, you can change, obviously, the text on the submit button. So enter or sign up for newsletter, let's say. Whatever you want in there. You can also insert a link to an image, and that will replace this submit button with an image. And then there's some custom width options for setting the height and width of the actual form. So if we go ahead and preview this now, it's actually a pretty clean form with just the fields there. Again, you can apply custom CSS to the form, and we're planning on adding more options here in terms of like setting the height and width. But yeah, so that's the form builder in a nutshell. Once you publish this form, it will go ahead and be published in the back end, and this is the shortcode that you can use to insert this form into any particular page on your site. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it into a post. Alternatively, inside of post now, so if you, let's say you're in a blog post, you want to add a form into that, you can use the quick insert option. That'll pull a list of all the forms that you have created on your site. And then you can just go ahead and click insert shortcode. That'll insert the shortcode into the page. Or if you want to build forms directly in posts as well, that is an option as well. So if I go ahead and click on build new form from that insert, I can get to this menu and I can build a live form here to basically insert into a post very quickly and easily. Again, we can use predetermined, pre-made forms to tweak and adjust. That comes in very handy with A/B testing and what have you, if you're trying to set up different form fields for different variations of landing pages or calls to action. But yeah, that's with the power button here, insert quick form or inbound form builder. And that is the form tool in a nutshell.